Hi all, Kiri here. Like so many others, I gave in to the iPad unboxing side of YouTube, and though this is not a typical video that I upload, I've always wanted to make one of these after watching hundreds of them. And along with giving into the trend and thus in turn contributing to Apple's consumerism, I thought I would also show y'all how I use my iPad for college and YouTube. I was starting as a college freshman this semester, which is one of the main reasons why I bought this iPad. I had pre-ordered it and finally got it after a month, and that is also why a lot of my accessories and things came in before. I used the Super Shield's anti-glare screen protector, which is like a paper-like dupe, but I just spent hundreds of dollars, so you best believe I cheaped out with everything else. My case was the Moco magnetic Smartfolio case, and it's not protective whatsoever, which is exactly what I wanted, because what I was going for was something that would prevent smudges and scratches, plus I have a thing against bulky cases. And I know someone in the comments will probably say something along the lines of, and when it breaks in half, her hundreds of dollars will go down the drain. And yes, that is very true. If that happens, that is, because I'm literally protecting this metal and glass clunk with my life. I got the Apple Pencil separately, and as depicted, I had already opened it up because for some genius reason, I initially thought it would work on iPhones as well. But what I did order with the iPad, but it came weeks before, which is why I couldn't unbox it here, was the Airpods Pro. Apple had a deal on their education store, so I had gotten these way cheaper than the initial price, and my original AirPods were also defective at this point because they would die within 20 minutes of using it, so at the time, I thought it was a good investment. But if I have to be honest about the AirPods Pro, okay, let me rant. The sound quality and sound cancelling are phenomenal and super cool. However, the only times I used the sound cancelling was the first week of getting it because I was like a little kid in awe of this kinda sorta unnecessary feature for me. Additionally, these things do not stay in my ears, even with the smallest rubber things. Unless I'm absolutely still not smiling or laughing, they will stay. But then during a group project in Zoom University, I'm constantly pushing them back in, and there have been instances where they just fall out as I give a very important presentation. And I don't even have the luxury of working out with these in. So long story short, they're great if you have big ears. Despite all this complaining, I'd rather not pay another $200 for another pair of AirPods, and I still do like them, which is why I got a case for them too. A very ugly purple colored one that I got ripped off for. Remember how I mentioned that I cheaped out on everything else? Well, I initially thought I was getting a cute lavender colored case for $2, but this is what I get for shopping in the dark cheap realm of Amazon. Once I got my iPad ready and running, it would take a couple weeks for me to get used to it, and another month or so, I don't know why, to set it up to my liking. A few weeks later, and right after the introduction of iOS 14, I had an iPad set up and a new AirPods Pro case, which was a color that I liked a lot more. And get this, I still got this from the dark cheap realm of Amazon, but I was just smarter this time. However, I did happen to damage my AirPods Pro because my, again, small ears couldn't hold them as I ran a crosswalk. I also got a new sleeve for my Apple Pencil with these cute little kitten ears at the top. For my iOS 14 setup, I bought my app and widget icons on Etsy for $5, and honestly, if you're lazy to find or make them on your own like me, there are so many on Etsy at really good prices, and it's also a great way to support small businesses. To set up the app icons, at this point, I'm sure everyone knows how to do this, but here's a quick tutorial on how. Basically what I do is I open up the Shortcuts app, and I click on the plus button at the top, and I search up the command Open App. Then once that command is pulled up, I pick the app I want to do. In this case, I'm going to do Netflix. And then I name the shortcut so that I can reference it pretty quick. And once the shortcut is named, I name the actual icon of it. Once that's done, I click on the little image to upload my little Netflix icon. And then I click Save. And there we go. I got my little iOS 14 icon. For the widgets, I use Widgetsmith, obviously, and I use different layouts, and I also chose the image option to upload the images I got from my Etsy bundle. On my iPad, I created 4 slides, each for different things. On the first slide, I have the standard apps such as photos, cameras, the App Store, and I also keep the original apps that I created icons for in this folder so that I could quickly reference them just in case. If I had to pick an app that I constantly open that isn't social media, it would have to be Notes. It's the idea junk central and where I do all my scratch work for my classes because let's not kill more trees, shall we? Next is Ibooks, where I keep all my e-textbooks for my classes. This semester didn't really require much annotating, which is why I just left them in Ibooks and not in GoodNotes, and just used Ibooks as a way to reference them real quick. Pinterest is on my first slide because not only does it give me inspiration, but it's such a stress reliever just scrolling through looking at aesthetic things. And YouTube is also on the first slide because, well, I don't think I need to explain that. I also don't think I need to explain why Netflix is on the first slide either, and if you don't know me or can't tell already, I'm clearly a K-drama junkie. My last app on my first slide is Notion, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this from every other person that rants on about Notion, but my life literally revolves around this app. It's only been a little while since I started using it, and that describes why it's kind of bland and boring, but my college work, daily schedules and goals, and YouTube planning and work all resides in this app. And the funny thing is, I remember buying a planner notebook during back to school season, but I haven't used it once because of Notion. And I've also fallen into this Notion rabbit hole on YouTube watching all these set of videos. So I'm pretty excited to step up my game with this app. The education slide has the typical education apps like the email apps, Canvas, and Zoom. And then I have a folder for all the Apple apps such as Pages and Keynote, and a folder for all the Google apps, and then one for all the Microsoft apps, which my university system is based off of. And lastly, the most used and valued app on this slide is GoodNotes. I like taking both paper and digital notes, and this semester I did my paper notes for Gen Chem, but I took a lot of my calc notes here on GoodNotes. And GoodNotes is just so perfect. I have nothing else to say. The creative side has apps like YouTube Studio, which is very useful for me, and Canon Camera Connect. And I also have a folder for Adobe apps such as Lightroom to edit Instagram photos and Photoshop for any quick edits I need to do. I also keep Amazon here. I don't know why, but it's here. And oh, if you're wondering how I got the cheap AirPods case, I went to the price lowest highest and see, it's clearly lavender. And I don't know why, it just had to be an ugly purple color, but I guess it was my fault for not looking at the reviews. I also have, but don't use the Adobe Illustration apps. I used Adobe Fresco for a while before I got Procreate, but the brushes were quite limited, and then that led me to just getting Procreate. I mostly use Procreate to create animations and overlays for my videos and to create thumbnails, but I also started to do color therapy and just drawing for fun as a means to, hopefully, fingers crossed, get practice and maybe, I don't know, start digital drawing someday. My last slide, the distraction one, has all my socials and entertainment apps, and even though I have all my socials here, I don't usually use my iPad to check them because I use my phone to do that instead, so these apps are just kind of forgotten in this corner of my iPad. For entertainment apps, I have Apple TV and apps for K-dramas like Viki, and C-dramas like Tencent Video and iQIYI. I also keep my shopping apps here whenever I feel like doing online window shopping because that's all I can do these days since there is no ka-ching in the bank account, sadly. It's also my fashion style app since I'm that person that likes to know the trends, but then not follow through until like way later. My favorite fashion app is Vogue Runway because after any fashion show, they upload all the looks for a brand's new collection, and kind of like Pinterest, it's relaxing and fun to see, but also gives me some fashion inspo at the same time. My last app relates to K-pop, which is Soompi, and though I'm not into K-pop as much as I was early on in high school, I mostly use Soompi to keep me updated with my K-drama news regarding new dramas and all the tea about the actors and actresses. Well, that concludes my iPad unboxing and setup. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I also hope you have a wonderful day or night. And if it's not, here's a friendly reminder to just relax and waste your time. It's okay, browsing Pinterest or YouTube or watching some Netflix. But thank you so much for watching. Toodles!